Yo, it's your girl Rummy, and I'm finally back with another video. And in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about all the things that I've learned from working in tech, as well as any tips or advice that I would give anybody who's looking to, maneuver into tech, or just sharing some things that I wish I knew before I started working in this industry. So to give a little background, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer networking and information technology in May of 2021. So that gives me about 2 years that I've been in the workforce now. And the positions that I've held include being a product engineer, and now I'm currently a data analyst, and I've worked for 2 different companies. And those 2 different companies are very different. The first one was a very small company, and now I work for a very, very large company. It's Rummy. So I have some notes on my phone just so I don't forget. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So one of the things that I really love about tech is just there's so many different career paths that you can go down all within tech. Like I mentioned, I was a product engineer, but now I am a data analyst, and those are 2 completely different jobs, but they really require the same skill sets. They're just used in different ways. And I know personally I changed my mind a lot, and my interests change all the time. So that's something I definitely thought about before choosing this career path. I just knew that I wanted to have flexibility to be able to take my career, down different avenues and explore different interests that I gain along the way. That's definitely a plus. And the second thing that's a pro that I would say that you hear everybody always talking about is the high salaries. I would say that is definitely the best part about working in tech, because I've only been working for 2 years, and I would say that my salary is a bit higher than some of my peers and my coworkers who work in other fields, and even some of them who have master's degrees. So that's definitely a plus of working in this job. And like I mentioned before about the many different avenues, if you are a person that works in tech and you're looking to maneuver, I would definitely suggest switching as early as possible, because now, like, I'm a data analyst, and even though that does require a bit of programming, if I try to get into like a position that is more heavy on programming, or a project manager, because I don't have that experience, I feel like I would be needing to take a pay cut in order to do those jobs, and that's just not something that I'm necessarily willing to do, because why? I just can't see myself necessarily giving up the salary that I have now just to go in a different direction. But I do wish that I would have changed directions earlier, because then I wouldn't even have this problem. So the third thing I would like to touch on is I feel like people who really, really excel in working in the tech field are people who are truly, truly passionate about it, because burnout is real. Working in tech is completely different than any other field, because things are always evolving. There's always new technology coming out. There's always new softwares to learn. There's always new certifications that you need to get. And that just takes a lot. Like, there's a lot of studying involved, and sometimes it can feel like I'm back in undergrad, like studying for all them exams and stuff. And if you're not passionate about that, that's gonna be a hard thing to do, because the certifications, that's what's really gonna boost your resume. That's really how you're gonna get those high paying jobs early on in your career, because those certifications really show that you know this, you've mastered it, and they're important. And unlike what you see on TikTok and YouTube, how people be like, yeah, I maneuvered into tech with absolutely no experience, and all I did was do the certification or do this and that. Those exams are no freaking joke, and the ones that you truly need, the ones that really will get you the big bucks, they're not free. Like, getting those exams and stuff and those certifications, they're not free. Some of them cost like $1,000. So I don't know where people are hearing that. It's definitely possible that you can, switch into tech with no experience and stuff like that, but definitely networking is really, really, really big in tech. I just wanted to mention that because I always hear people talking about how, like, oh yeah, I got a 6-figure paying job with no experience. And I feel like if you've ever taken, if you've ever had a technical interview, then you know it is no joke, because if you are maybe stretching the truth a little bit on your resume and saying like, you know, Java, or you know, C, in the interview, they're gonna be like, hey, could you please show me, like, hey, could you take this little exam for us? And they're no joke. I know technical interviews, that's something that I have to study and prepare for well in advance of the interview. And there's multiple rounds and different hiring managers and stuff that you have to talk to, which is also another part of tech that I just do not like, because, like, be for real, I once had an interview process with a company that lasted literally 6 rounds, and those 6 rounds also included me taking a 2-hour exam. And I just was really shook because they decided to go in a different direction with a different candidate, which, you know, they have every right to do that. But after 6 interviews, I was like, y'all owe me an Amazon gift card or something at this point, because this was a lot of time and a lot of effort, you know, a lot of stress that involved going into this. But going back to my original point is that passion will really, really take you far, because when I think back to undergrad, those people that literally sleep, eat, and breathe programming, those people that go to work all day and then come home and work on personal projects, those are the people that's probably making 3 or 4 times what I'm making, even though we're at the same age and, you know, been working in tech for the same amount of time, because they have that passion. Like, you know, when I get off work, I'm not necessarily going to be talking about, you know, all this new technology with my friends and stuff, and I'm maybe not going to come home and work on my personal projects, because I just don't have that level of passion. I wish I did, but I don't. I think that it is okay to have other hobbies outside of programming, outside of tech, and maybe that's just my own personal problem, but I cannot stress that enough. If you want to be working in tech long term, you need to be passionate, because burnout is real. I mean, with any job, there's gonna be burnout, especially like higher paying jobs, because it comes with more responsibility and a heavier workload. But I'm telling you, passion will truly, truly take you far. Passion and networking. So the next thing I was gonna say based off of that is that there are some tech companies that have really, really good company culture. And one of the companies I worked for definitely was kind of like the movie theater tech job, where you go in the office and you have free snacks, you can work from home, you know, as long as you get your work done. Like, you know, they're not too pressed about how you choose to do that. You know, if you want to go for a walk in the morning or something, you know, as long as you attend the meetings and get all your work done by the deadlines and stuff. So I think that was really, really cool to experience. But just in general, there's a lot of stress involved, because you really do have a lot of projects, and there's just, you know, one thing after another. But even with the job I have now, which is not an in-person, which is not a work from home job, I actually have to go into the office, I still feel like I have a good work-life balance. But it also just depends on the week and the projects that I'm working on, because sometimes, you know, I could be having to stay late every single day, going early, stay late, and other times, you know, maybe I'm leaving a little early. Overall, I just don't necessarily think that I'm an office culture type of person. I don't like being stuck behind a desk all day. I much rather prefer a position where I can interact with people, but just being in a technical role for the most part, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be sitting at your computer, you know, getting your work done. I knew what type of roles like working in tech would be like, but I don't think that's something that I necessarily truly could have known whether I enjoy it or not until I actually experienced it for myself. Because growing up, I didn't necessarily know a lot of people that had careers. I knew a lot of people that had jobs, like where they work in manufacturing and like on the production line and things like that. And I just knew that I didn't want to be doing a hard labor job, which in tech ain't no hard labor. Like, you're sitting at a desk typing and whatnot. I mean, you might get a little paper cut, or fingers might be a little pressed if you're going really hard, but that's about it. And I just don't know if that's necessarily for me. I think if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't necessarily choose tech. I do think that it's a good investment and a good degree, because I do have student loans. from undergrad. I actually have 2 separate student loan payments, and I'm able to make both of those payments every month very comfortably. I'm not necessarily stressed and pressed about them. I'd rather not be paying them, but you know, I can still do whatever I want to do. You know, I've been able to go on vacation. I went to Africa for 2 weeks, and I think it's stuff like that where the money that you earn allows you to have a certain lifestyle, which really attracts a lot of people to this job. I think one tip that I would like to share is that if you're working in tech, is that tech, especially now since it's gaining a lot of popularity and a lot more companies are, you know, really putting an emphasis on tech and data and using data to drive decisions. I think that on social media, you see everybody in tech works for some very, very big name company like Facebook or Spotify or Twitter. And those jobs are exciting. Like working for Google and stuff would be amazing, but I think it's important to remember that not everybody can have those jobs. Every company, for the most part, has some type of tech department. Like those needs are always going to be there, and working for, you know, companies that are closer to you, that's maybe not such a big name, can still be like great for your career because the pay is going to still be good. And I just wouldn't want anybody to get discouraged. I hope that you were able to take something away from this video. That's just me sharing my thoughts and experiences. I think that in these 2 years, I've learned a lot about tech, about programming, about different softwares, and that's something that I am happy about. If I could do it all over again, I don't necessarily think I would choose tech. Even though I have enjoyed these past 2 years, I do plan to go to grad school and do quite a completely 180 different career path and everything like that. So if you like these type of videos, please comment down below and let me know. And I just want to thank everybody for watching, and make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.